This week, Dabo Sweeney was asked by a caller, will you make staff changes? I'm going to give you his answer, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on it here in just a second. Hey, I'm Brian. I'm not Bobby. Thank you for joining me on the channel. I appreciate all the outpouring of comments, even the negative ones, on the board over the past weekend. The channel is really growing, and it's because of you, and I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, it is free. It's a great way to support the channel, and it takes little to no effort other than clicking your thumbs, especially if you're watching a device. And if you do that on a desktop, that could be weird. But anyway, I do appreciate your support. Now, I have praised Dabo Sweeney. I have given him a lot of credit, as he should be given. He has done something that very few coaches has done. He's won the national championships. He's one of only a few coaches who are active right now who's won multiple national championships, and it's relatively been in the recent past, right? I've also criticized the coaching hires. This is where I believe the problem is. I believe the position hires is where this is where the problem's at. Hiring unqualified people as a whole across the board, especially on the offensive side of the football. And now I'm starting to make my way to the defensive side of the football when you consider the personnel that our defense has. Remember, coaching matters. Whoever's coaching at a specific position, if they are not that good at what they do, or maybe they're not where they need to be in their career at this point, they need to grow, they can get better, but at this point, they're not where they need to be as a coach. Their unit will suffer, and in turn, the team will suffer. So Sweeney was asked this question on his show. And folks, I'm going to be honest with you, I just lost it. And I'm going to pull it up right now. I apologize for that. Here it is via the Clemson Insider. I'm not affiliated with them, and they're not affiliated with me. That's not a good or a bad thing. I'm just saying, I just want to make that clear. But a caller called in and asked if there would be staff changes at the end of the season. Sweeney actually gave a really good answer. Hey, man, we're just trying to get to 1-0. That's not stuff that we evaluate. Again, we clean up some mistakes. We're having different conversations. Pause. Right answer. Okay? Once again, if I am going to criticize the man for things that I disagree with because it doesn't look like him, and the people that he's hired is not the way that he became successful. He became successful by going, I'm a 37-year-old interim coach. I think he was 37. I just need to pull in the best around me. And he did that, and that's the reason he won. You don't have to know everything to be a good leader. You have to be willing to hire people who were good at their role. But the answer here is the right answer. You don't address that stuff in the middle of the season. Who is he going to go hire? Because I don't know if you noticed this or not, there's other football being played other than just Clemson. So if you want to talk to someone who might be coaching at Ohio State or Georgia or fill in the blank, they're coaching right now. And they're not going to be granted permission to talk to you. Now, is this the time to be making your list? Yeah. This is the time. This is the time to be going through your contacts and figuring out who do we want to bring in. Sweeney answers this question correctly. Once again, he says that's not stuff that we evaluate. Again, we clean up some mistakes. We're having different conversations. All right. He also goes on to say, we certainly got to work to get better. Okay. So we certainly got to work to get better, but those making staff changes are not things that we deal with in the middle of the season. Correct. We're locked in on trying to find a way to win this week. End quote. Now, folks, I don't know about you, but that makes me feel a little better. He did make the change to get Garrett Riley. So kudos. The problem is still there at the positions coach level. You're a man who's in charge of the dynasty that you built. You built by hiring brilliant people to come in and coach. And when you look at your positions coaches, you have to ask yourself, should I have given a bunch of first year or very inexperienced guys at this level of football this chance? That many of them at one time, maybe given one of them a chance. Okay, yeah. Sweeney was given a chance by Terry Don Phillips. You want to pass it along. I get it. It makes sense. It's very noble of him. But if you want to get into this at a critical, this is now an urgent need to fix this problem. Well, desperate times call for desperate measures. Now, someone sent me a comment and asked me, said, if it is this simple to just hire better positions coaches, and we're paying Sweeney millions of dollars to I say we, but the university's paying him millions of dollars to make these decisions. Why is he not doing it? If it's that easy, folks, I can only give you an answer based on experience that I've had. In my years in the business world, whether it's a mom and pop store, whether it's maybe a little side gig I did, all the way into a massive company I used to work for. Now I work for a software startup. That's why you see me here in my office and I do videos at odd times a day. I have a meeting in about 10 minutes, so this video will be short. But I have worked with some brilliant people. I've also worked with some brilliant people who they were blind in certain areas. So they had to have good advisors around them to tell them, hey, this move over here is not the best move, right? I've also seen some people who were complete and total idiots and did not deserve the job that they had, but for some reason they either had photos of someone doing something bad and they're blackmailing them and they got the job, or what, I don't know. But just because you're a really smart person or just because you have had success does not mean that you can't become blind in an area. That's why, and let's go over the changes that doesn't need to be made at Clemson. For those of you who are calling for Dabo Swinney to be fired, no, that is the wrong decision. Dabo, what he needs to do is return to his winning ways, the ways that made him a 2-time champion, a 6-time consecutive playoff contender. That's what he needs to do. We don't need to be sitting here screaming at Dabo about that. Now, some of you highly disagree with me on this, and that's fine. We all have different opinions. We can civilly disagree. That's okay. It used to be an art form. That's why our society's going to pot, because you just can't disagree with someone. You have to either violently agree with them or you can't be friends anymore. But the other one, transfer portal. This is not a transfer portal issue. You go, well, hold on, I disagree with it. Why? Why? Are we going to go to the transfer portal and get other talented players who are going to be poorly developed by this coaching staff as well? It's a coaching positional coach issue. Sweeney's answer is right, but that he says we're having conversations. Do I expect him to fire everybody on his offensive staff? No. Do I expect him to make changes? Yes. Unfortunately, this is probably going to take a couple of seasons. The only problem with that, you're wasting eligibility. How many more games are you going to lose? And maybe I won't say it's a little too late, but it's getting there. Sweeney answers this question correctly. But if you listen to that question, listen to the question and then listen to the answer, there's conversations being had. Now, let's talk about the defense for a second. I have given Wes Goodwin the benefit of the doubt. This is the first time, to my knowledge, that he's ever had a role of this magnitude. He is having to replace the man, Brent Venables. And I don't care if it's in the business world. I don't care if it's on a team. I don't care if it's in your local church league basketball team. If you have to replace the man, well, you don't want to be the man who has to replace the man. Why? Because you're always immediately compared to them. With that said, I have questions about Wes Goodwin. And you say, Brian, why would you ask that? Because Clemson's ranked in the they're ranked in the well, I want to talk about the ferociousness of the defense versus the ferociousness of past defenses. Clemson has great personnel on their defense right now. They have the talent. The front seven is ridiculous. You have two freshman phenoms on the line making a name for themselves. This does not make sense, folks. And I pose this question to you not only on the offensive side of the ball, but mostly on the defensive side of the ball. What happens when we lose this experienced talent that we're about to lose? If we can't get it together now, good grief. If not now, when? And with who? If the only way that Clemson can win is if they have once-in-a-lifetime talent at every position, that is not feasible for any team. I gave this example the other day. You have to mine talent like mining gold, and then you have to refine it. Sweeney was very good at that when he first started. Another person who was brilliant at doing that as well was Chris Peterson when he was at Boise State. He was taking talent that other people really wasn't recruiting that much. He was going out and beating Oklahoma. He became a headache. So I'm wondering when Jeremiah Trotter's gone and Barrett Carter's gone, Maskell's gone. XT, I know he's had problems here, but he's still a force to be reckoned with. That's what's so funny. The guy has battled so much, and he's still a problem. Rook, he'll be gone. Most of our secondary will be gone. Tyler Davis, gone. You tell me, folks, what's going to happen? That's a very good question. When our defense needs to stand up and keep Duke from scoring 3 touchdowns because, hey, I hate to say it, sometimes you have to win the ball game. They didn't. I know some of you are going to disagree with me there. Brian, that's way back. We're in the same season, y'all. The season has turned. This past Saturday, Clemson lost to a true freshman quarterback. They didn't lose to Tyler Van Dyke. They lost to a true freshman quarterback, and the wide receiver that was 6'5" that was going out there and besting us, he's out of a junior college. Butthole State. I don't know. What more do you need? If the only way for you to win is if you have the all Madden team, starting at safety, Ed Reed, at corner, Deion Sanders, at the other corner, Sean Taylor or Jalen Ramsey. I mean, folks, if this is what we have to win, it's a coaching issue. It's a coaching issue. There are coaches across this country in college football and even high school football. They know how to get the most out of their talent. And I'm questioning that on the defensive side of the ball heavily. The offensive side, it's obvious. Things are broken at so many levels on the offensive level. It's ridiculous. And I'm highly concerned that we're going to see players hit the transfer portal, and rightfully so. But the answer to the question, folks, will there be changes made? You don't make that change in the middle of the season. But if there's conversations, that's a good thing for us Clemson fans. Hopefully, we'll see something really, really good happen in the near future. I have 49 of you in here, and it's lunch break, so I hope I have 49 thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It's free. Also, if you want to support the channel, there's a join button below this video. It is so flipping cheap, you won't even miss it. I'm serious. I dare you to click on it and go, you're like, oh man, I thought it was like cheap. That's you're anyway. Also, want to mention some sponsors of the show, 4puttcarts.com. Their link is below this video. 4puttcarts.com is a beverage and cart service for not only golf courses, but golf courses and special events. So you need to reach out to them if you have a special event going on. You will really jazz things up right now. So you go ahead and you do that. Also, my friends, we've been giving away some of these. Last week, we gave away 2 of them, Tiger Man and Daddy-O. Won these 2. It's the teeny tiny version of this. Just go ahead and tell you one of my good friends here. One of my good friends, he made me that prototype, and he was like, that's the only one I'm making. The smaller ones are what we're going to be giving away. Check out the Sawmill Shop and let both them know that you heard about them from me. Folks, thank you so much. I hope you have a great day. Hopefully, we've got some good changes coming up. Also, before I go, I will have my preview the prediction. I did a preview yesterday of the NC State Clemson game to where I go over who's playing, but I didn't give my prediction. I'm going to give my prediction maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday, get that out. And then, of course, go over some of the big games that we have coming up. Folks, college football is maturing. Penn State lost as I thought they would. We're seeing teams like Oklahoma. We're seeing Washington. We're seeing Oregon. They come off of big games, and they're struggling, but they still won. We'll see how this week pans out. Folks, it's just a game. It's just a game that we love, but it's just a game. I hope you enjoy it, and I can't wait to see you here next time. As always, go Tigers.